Hello fellow humans and welcome to the T30, and this is a very nice tier 9 heavy tank, and to those of you that do think this is an actual tank destroyer, then congratulations, your brain is a watermelon. Now, obviously, there is nothing tank destroyer about this. It has a fully traversable turret, it has a heavy tank hull, I mean just like the T34 and the T29 as well. It also has this 120mm gun, if you so choose. I wouldn't recommend playing this one though, even though it does have more DPM. I would recommend the 155mm T7. Now, is this tank worth getting? Why is it a tank destroyer even though it's a heavy tank? Let's get into it. And I want to start off with a little bit of history on this tank, because how did it end up being a tank destroyer? Originally, it wasn't. All the way back in World of Tanks PC, when the game originally came out, this was the original tier 10 heavy tank, with the T34 being the tier 9. Now the T34 is obviously a tier 8 premium now. Obviously this never happened in Blitz, it's only happened in World Tanks PC. Blitz just copied what World Tanks PC had done, so that's how we get to here. Basically, what is this lag? Very nice. Very, very nice. And, yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, it just lagged like hell. So, ideally, this was a tier 10 heavy tank, and then they replaced it with the M103 and the T125, and then introduced the T124 for this line, and made the T30 a tier 9 tank destroyer for some reason, because they probably couldn't figure out another way to use it. And then obviously, Blitz simply took that and copied the same style of tech tree, and also using the T34 as a premium tank into World of Tanks Blitz at the beginning. So, here we are. You have 640 alpha damage, which is very high, but then again, that is nothing tank destroyer special, because a tank like a E100 also have that high alpha damage. Now, you're not going to tell me that the E100 is a tank destroyer now, are you? I mean, some people do play it as a tank destroyer, but we don't talk about those people. So, ideally, you want to play this thing like a regular hold down heavy. You have 10 degrees of gun depression, which is absolutely amazing. You can also do this, where you could do over 1000 damage, but your shot hits the track and you only do 400, which is a bit unfortunate. And that is a Type 57 with whatever, which is apparently a new tank, which I don't care about, because it's most likely gonna be some pay-to-win garbage, or rather, pay-to-crate garbage. Does look interesting though. It looks more like a yaw than any type tank, but anyway. I know nothing about that, so I'm not going to say anything about it. 400 damage, that's interesting. So you know something about the tank. 400, around 400 alpha damage. There we go. Looks a bit weird, but anyway, now it's dead. As you can see, T30. What is it about? Playing hold down and playing around the high alpha damage. I do think it is worth getting, because it's a great tank to play. The E4, I think, is also a decent tier 10. Tier for tier, it's a bit worse, because you really have a massive cupola on top. You can't fully traverse the turret, and you also don't have gun depression. So, tier for tier, the E4 is worse. The T28 prototype before it is skippable at best. So, if you do have free XP lying around, then you may go for that. Or, unless you have a lot of time and you really hate yourself, then the T28 prototype can be a great tank to play. Otherwise, if you don't have the free XP to afford it, you probably should be grinding that thing in fun modes, because it's not going to be fun, but at least you won't suffer as much. So that is something that is very nice. Now, overall, this is a absolutely amazing tier 9 tank, probably also one of the best. Better than most tier 9 heavies, that is. Maybe also better than a couple of tier 10 ones. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. 5A. So, I have this thing at tier 8 rather than the 5A, and it'd be more competitive, because it has more DPM, it has higher alpha damage, has better turret armor, it can play hold down better. Hey, am I wrong? Now, one thing that is a bit weird about this tank is, while the T34 has amazing penetration for its tier, this thing, not as much. Still good penetration, but it is nothing outstanding, so that is something to watch out for. If you expect any completely overkill type of penetration, that is not going to happen with this tank. And the actually is good enough for closer range shots. You don't want it to be too long though, because it's not a tank destroyer. You're not supposed to play at long range, and a position like this is absolutely amazing for it. You can hide most of the hull and use the pretty much impenetrable turret, except for the cupola on top, which is hard to hit, especially when you're hull down. It is going to be quite nice. Now, obviously, shots like that on a Forge can manage to not hit, which is obvious because the accuracy is obviously not perfect. Now, in comparison to the T-95, the other non-turreted, slow American T9 tank destroyer, this thing is a world better, while the T-95 is at best trash. So, there is that. It's a great tank. I think it is definitely worth it, especially if you're into hull-down heavy tanks like that. This is an absolutely amazing vehicle for that. Obviously, if you're more of a I like to not win type of person, then, well, speaking of OP, no, the T100 LT isn't OP. You just can't aim. Anyway, that's 3,700 damage, which is amazing. So, I can definitely recommend getting this tank. It is a great vehicle. And overall, approved. And if you approve of this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Goodbye.